Joe Bennett and explaining right now uh, Dutch opening theory, Dutch defense for chess, and it's also about like this game. It's following this game that I played on Blitz, and it's kind of like an opening line that has kind of left some demons sleeping in my subconscious. So basically ready to get really the moves down, so my repertoire has a slight improvement on it. So if you want to come along with me, here's journey through part of a game and then something I just came to right now, analyzing and calculating about stuff. So I'm black here. We see c4, knight c6, e6, bishop g5, bishop e7. This is the variation of Dutch I like. I played this one. Paul Morphy's played it. For me, in my opinion, I like bishops more than knights, so I don't play the bishop out here. The pin and the counter pin variation. I don't know if it's Rubinstein or not. Not really sure why some of these openings are named after players like Rubinstein, but well, I mean, I'm sure about why they are, but nowadays I wouldn't name this opening after Rubinstein at all, or Morphy for that matter. I would just keep going along Dutch names. I'm not going to name it right now. Bishop e7, e3, and in the game I played b6, so this is kind of like where I started to go along my usual roads, which don't always lead to the best games. They're interesting games, because right here it's like white gets to play bishop e2, and then I play bishop b7, and then they play bishop f3 onto the long diagonal, and then I defend anyway. And it's really annoying. White even has a small advantage after this move, which did not happen in the game. The queen is oddly placed, even though it's on a long diagonal. It's not really the best in conjunction with my other pieces in this position. So that's honestly a good advantage to white. That's why I'm not playing that opening anymore. One general thing that I did to throw this in is, usually in the Dutch, whenever they play e3, I play b6, so I can get onto the long diagonal. And if they play g3 instead of e3 right here, then I play d6 and choose another diagonal, because they're going to own me on that diagonal. So it's like, okay, you're getting on another diagonal, then I'll take the long one. But in this particular variation, it's a funny branch on the tree of the Dutch, they can get it back like this guy did in the game. So essentially what I'm saying now is, it's better to castle here and wait. And so then if they play knight f3, then b6 is fine. And ready to play onto the long diagonal, because then they can't do this maneuver bishop here and then bishop here. It's just not going to happen because there's a knight there. So if I play b6, then I still have good control of e4, this square right here, and I still have the long diagonal, which is very useful. Still getting the long diagonal, which is awesome. That's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what they're doing, and it's like knight f3 there. And in this variation, I can also play d6, because there's no direct knight harassment with knight g5. That's something you gotta be careful about in the Dutch, but not really here. And then I can play knight here and keep controlling that important e4 square. But that's not really what happened in the game. In the game, I'll just go through the actual game really quick. Just add some circular geometry to this explanation. I have to refresh the screen actually, because the way the chess.com works is just kind of how it happens. It says like, oh, if you move those pieces, then that's the real game, but that's not the real game. This is the real game right here. So I defend it with queen c8, which isn't really the best line, honestly, and that's what I've been playing. So that's what I'm going to stop playing. And you know, if you're curious, this is kind of how the game went. I'm not going to give too much explanation. It's just kind of like, I didn't really have much of an advantage over the opening, but I ended up winning because I really like queen thrown to the king side, and then a king side attack with a pawn storm. And I'm black here, and I was able to, you know, make this dubious sacrifice. You know, it's dubious, it's specious, it's false. It has a ring of truth or plausibility to it, but I actually could have gotten beat with these tactics, but he just messed up, which allowed me to win the game. And then there's just some sloppy stuff because we each had only a few seconds, and I ended up winning on time because, you know, I can make funny moves with my queen and really go all over the place with it. So that's that opening line, but I'll show you where the improvement is that I'm recommending. The improvement that I'm recommending, he didn't even play knight f3. See, it's such an oddball, you know, with these variations, it's actually good. Even if you think that you know the line, please be a little bit careful when you play, because there's so many slight deviations and branches on these openings that really get it precise. See, that's not even the line that I'm discussing. He plays the bishop out here, and I play here, and then he plays e3 after the bishop's outside of this pawn chain right here. So you know, it's really, really precise. And what I played in the game was b3, not b3, 3 is here, this light square, b6, which is a dark square, opens up for my light square bishop. And that's not what I'm recommending, because you can play bishop e2 and then here, which hijacks the diagonal. What I'm recommending is castle as a waiting move, and we're going to castle anyway because this file is so great because we play the Dutch. And since castle is the strongest move in the game, people are scratching their heads like, wait, why is that the strongest move? It's really because you get to move two pieces at once, and you get your king into a corner, and it's easier to protect him. So I'm taking advantage of that, and it's kind of like a slime move because this rook scope is way open right here, and I played the Dutch defense by opening to the pawn, and that's the logic behind it for me personally. And also this diagonal isn't weak because of this e6 pawn. And I'll tell you, like, usually if they do this, then I'm not going to play b6. I'll play d6 right here. And if they take this, then I'll play this like usual classical Dutch, which a lot of my videos are about. But if they play like bishop d3, then they're never going to get back on that diagonal like that. And right here, I recommend b6 as part of my own analysis, you know, my own game preparation. I'm not sure if that's like with everybody's, you know, own preparation. Usually players will probably play this, and then I've overprojected the e4 break and right here, and that's kind of like what we're going to play around. And you know, white will probably castle, and then we'll have a nice Dutch game with this bishop being exploited for where it is because it's a little vulnerable outside of the pawn chain. And then, you know, the pawns and the knight can attack it. And for my style, like, bishop's better than knights. And they do have more mobility than knights. So no matter what classical counting system you're using, bishops can go further than knights. And bishops, 9 times out of 10, they're hitting more squares than knights. So there you go. Look at Bobby Fischer. He uses bishops beautifully. And he's probably the best player to play the game. I would say Bobby Fischer is better than Carlsen. and Kasparov. And so I'm saying bishop d3, then b6. And if they play e4 here before the bishop's allowed to contest that, then it's probably good to take for black. I haven't analyzed this 100%, but you can hit the square again. I'm just guessing that it's a lot stronger. You can hit the square again, and that really allows for, you know, your piece activity to shine through. The c4 move wasn't really developing. And the f file, you'll see in counterpart to that, since f5 is not really developing, but it developed my rook. It wasn't developed for the minor pieces, but that rook has huge scope now. And also this square looks awkward. So I would say that, you know, black's doing well here. And if I may just put it into a chess engine, you know, look at this. So that's a castle. And then that's bishop d3. And here's b6, and here's e4. If we analyze this, that's an advantage to black. You know, according to shredders, that's minus 0.38, you know, so even getting that quick thrust in isn't that great. And I played this in that analysis 1 minute ago, but this engine's actually saying that this yields a lot of great advantages for black, you know, in a few different lines. You know, this is not too good. You know, like, I mean, any way you look at it, this is a little bit better. So a little bit better for white. I'm sorry. Well, I don't know why I said white, but black still has a big advantage. You know, black is owning it there. So I'll just stop it right there. It probably means I'm going too far, but there you go. Dutch defense analyzed after a little game of mine. Thanks for coming along the journey. My name is Joe Bennett.